If silos are so bad, why do we have so many of them, and how do we get rid of them? Hi, it's Chris Grundemann with Khadga Consulting, and today we're talking about silo busting. No, we're not talking about grain silos, we're talking about organizational silos. Dependencies define silos and describe their flaws. A team's lack of capabilities creates dependencies with other teams. One way to get rid of silos is to create cross-functional teams that have all the capabilities they need internal. How do we actually do it? I think there's tips in past literature that'll help us understand this better. Malone and Crowston's coordination theory says coordination is managing dependencies between activities to achieve a goal. In that, they break down this framework. There's flow-based dependencies, which means one activity creates a resource that the next activity needs. This is sequential. There's sharing-based dependencies, where one resource is needed by multiple activities, and so there can become competition for concurrent access to that resource. And then there's fit-based dependencies, which is when multiple activities create multiple resources that then need to be integrated together to create the whole. This gives us some really good clues into how to track, find, and eliminate dependencies. The 2012 paper titled A Taxonomy of Dependencies in Agile Software Development. And this breaks those resources that are all lumped together in coordination theory into three categories. The first category is knowledge. This could be domain-specific knowledge, expert knowledge into networking or storage or something else. This could be task knowledge, knowledge about the task that needs to be performed, why it needs to be performed, or what's going on, the implications there. Allocation, meaning who's assigned to what task and who's doing what, that can become a dependency. And then historical knowledge, right? That tribal knowledge, what we've done before can become a dependency if it's not the capability for that team. Beyond knowledge, there's also task dependencies. This goes back to more of those flow sequential things where you may have a blocker. Maybe there's some physical impossibility to complete the next task without this task being created. Or in coordination theory, maybe a resource is created by a task and that resource is needed. This could be caused by, again, those physical limitations. It also could be business process that's getting in the way here. So that's something to look at to get rid of some of these task dependencies. And then there's resource dependencies, people, places, things, technical parts like compute, RAM, storage needed to complete a project that may not be available at the time. When you take these two different ways to look at dependencies, you can find clues in your organization as to where these blockers may be, where these wait times may be increasing, where these bottlenecks may be happening. And in that, you can find your way towards silo busting.